boys and girls, let's have some fun and draw together today. Maybe even your parents would like to join in. Anyone in your household is really welcome. Today's project is recommended for 3rd grade. We will be drawing today a fish leaping out of a river. Tell it's a river because you have movement in the ocean, going for a dragonfly, and then with a background behind it. All you will need for today's project is a piece of paper, a pencil, and eraser. If afterwards you'd like to use colored markers, pencils, anything you have around the house, that'd be great. Let's start with our shapes. I'm going to use a marker so you can see better. Remember to hold onto your paper with one hand, draw with the other hand. The first shape is a circle. Anywhere on your paper, you can use a scrap piece of paper also. Next shape is a dot. It's a circle, but we color it all the way in, so we call it a dot. The next, do you remember the name of this line? Very good, boys and girls. Horizontal. Can we all say that together? Horizontal line. Next line, you remember that one? Vertical. Very good. Vertical line. Very good. We have one more line. Remember the name of that one? Diagonal. Very good, boys and girls. Let's say it together. Diagonal line. Okay. Then we have our half circles. A U. An upside down U. Looks like a rainbow. A C and a backward C. All of these are half circles. If we put them together, it would make a full circle. Then we have our angled lines, which are our V's. A regular V, an upside down V, which looks like an A without the crossbar, a sideways V, and another sideways V. Very good. Then we have a slightly curved line. Remember, it is not as curved as our upside down U or rainbow. It's not as straight as our straight line. That's why we call it a slightly curved line. Then we have our lazy S. Our lazy S laying down or horizontally, we call a hill and a valley. And then we've been doing spirals lately, which is just fun. So remember, you start in the middle. Looks like you're going to do a circle, but you go past that point and just keep going around. And remember, they make wonderful snails. That's why they're fun. All right, so those are our shapes. Remember, we're going to do them before every project because it just makes it easier for us to draw. Very good. We'll begin. So remember, you need to decide which way you want your paper. As an artist, before you even start to draw, you have to think about what's my picture going to look like. Maybe you'd like your fish leaping more out of the river, and then it would show more of the body. So you decide. Maybe you'd like his tongue coming out and actually maybe catching the dragonfly. I'd like for you to use your imagination and see what you can come up with today. But we're going to draw it together. First, we're going to start with our fish. We're going to start with our eye. Remember, you've decided which way you want your paper and what kind of story you're going to tell. I'm going to go ahead and start my eye right about here. I'm going to go ahead and start with a circle. Inside that circle, I'm going to do another circle. Make it a dot. Right, not quite above, to the angled right here, I'm going to do a slightly curved line right above the eye. And then at the edge of that, I'm going to put a half circle. See how it's angled? Okay. Then I'm going to touch the outside of my out circle, not the inside, the outside one, and come down with a slightly curved line. That's going to decide how big your mouth is. This is the outside line right here. So you decide where you want to start and, well, we know where we're starting it, where you want to stop it. Okay, boys and girls? The next thing you're going to do, you're going to make another half circle going in that direction. And now all we want to do is close it up with our lazy S, okay, which is going to be my valley and then hill. So here I go, I'm going to deep a little bit and then come up a little bit. You decide what looks best on yours. Now what we're going to do is we're going to touch the edge of this, or the bottom of this. I'm going to make a slightly curved line out. Now that's going to depend how big your mouth is, so you decide how much you want that open. I'm really doing just a slightly curved line, pretty much a horizontal line there. On the edge of that, I'm doing a half circle facing this way. Yep, and I'm just going to close it in with a slightly curved line. And now I have his mouth open. Like I said, if you want to do a tongue going out, you can do that, boys and girls. You might want to wait till we're done with a little bit more of the fish. It's up to you. I'm going to touch right here on the lips, or his mouth, and I'm going to do a slightly curved line in. Okay? Now let's look at the top of his head. It is a curve up. I wouldn't say it's an upside down U per se, but it does curve up a little bit. And then it's gonna, I did not come straight down. Do you see my angle? I'm angling down with my slightly curved line. All right. So now we have things to add to it so it'll look more like a fish. I'm gonna do a fin right here, which is a slightly curved line out. You can do some wiggly lines back. A couple of lines in there. We're going to do another one right here, boys and girls. Okay, you with me? Slightly curved line out. Wiggle on back. Maybe a couple of lines inside there. So it looks like a fin. Okay. So like I said, if you would like to do more of the body, then you're just going to start coming more slender, correct? Before you start putting in your waves. So I can even start doing that a little bit more. I'll come in just a little bit more. Okay? Now, remember I said we were going to do a dragonfly. Let's remember, boys and girls, I put something up here. Butterflies also have the same anatomy. They're built the same way as far as they have a head, a thorax, and then an abdomen. So they have 3 parts. The difference between a dragonfly and a butterfly are where the wings are and where they come out. The wings of the dragonfly come out of really the top of the thorax, right between the head and the thorax, where you see the butterfly wings come all the way down to the bottom of the thorax. All right? I'm going to make a dragonfly. If you wish to make a butterfly, you can. But usually you see dragonflies around the rivers and the ponds, right? So I'm going to start. My dragonfly is facing down. So right about here, I guess so he's in reach if I want him to be. One little dot, another little dot. Now I'm going to make a half circle around him, but I want to touch the outsides of my dot because I don't want it to be too big of a head. You'll see how my dots are still touching the edge of it. All right, so that's going to be my head. You can close it up or not. In this picture, I didn't really close it up. We'll close it up here just so you remember head, thorax, and abdomen. So we're going to go backwards. So here I'm going to slightly curve line, slightly curve line. Like I said, if you like this better, instead of making a little closure there, you're now going to just continue with his very long abdomen there, okay? If you'd like to put some slightly curved lines in it, you can. He looks like a tadpole right now, but once we put some wings on him, he'll be good. So remember I said the wings have to come more from the head and right under the thorax. So you can do them any way you want. I kind of wiggled out when I thought they were long enough. I made a half circle. See me? And then came back. I'm going to do on this side. Okay. And another one. right, so that's my dragonfly. You certainly can give him a little antennae right there. If you want it to look more realistic, you probably won't put that in. Notice I didn't put it in there. So now we're going to talk about, remember I said earlier that we know that our fish is jumping out of a river because there's a current, okay, where if it was a pond, there would not be a current. So to show that movement, to close this in, all I did was I started with a slightly curved line, then I touched the side of it to do another one, and if you want to do it individually, you're going to just close it up with a wiggle line or upside down U's, however you want to do it. And of course, boys and girls, if you have another way of doing it, you know you can always do that. But this, to me, is the easiest way of showing some movement. We'll show one up here. And then, of course, we can do some, looks like raindrops. Remember how raindrops are? They're pointier in one and a half circle on the other. Put it over here, this one. Put another one. So it's kind of splashing up. Now, where we close this in, we do want to continue with our movement, right? So I'm doing slightly curved lines out of that. It can be wiggly lines or slightly curved lines. We can change directions a little bit so it looks like it's the water's going in one direction and then in the other direction. And then behind here, of course, we can just continue. You want more splashes. However high you want your splashes to go. Your movement in your water. That's filling in nicely. We're looking like we have a current flowing. You can always work on that a little bit more, add to it, erase things you don't like. So now we want to determine where the edges of the river is. We can determine that by one straight one. We can determine it by changing it up a little bit and maybe making some bushes or trees or grass at the edge of it. Wouldn't really be grass at a river. Might be some more rocks. However you'd like to close it up. I'll put some rocks on this side. Okay. Make these taller, I think. Alright, if I color that in a different color from this, you'll definitely know that those are my rocks and not my water. Then we certainly can do a little bit more. Excuse me. We still have more of a horizon line to work with. We have our sun. We can put a nice background. We can, I did some hills. Do hills or mountains, whichever you prefer. Okay. It's always fun to put a little sun right there and get a nice sunset. I always like to put a couple of birds in the distance. Well, boys and girls, I hope you enjoyed. Oh, excuse me, we forgot something. We need a flipper right here, don't we? Okay, so let's go back here for just a minute. See where we did this flipper? Let's go into his body right about there. Slightly curved line. I'm going to do a slightly curved line on the top of it. I'm going to do a smaller one on the bottom so that when I close it up, I kind of have an angle happening. And I close the other ones up in a wiggle, so I should do that too. Alright, and like I said, if you want to do a tongue, you can go ahead and do that.